Meanwhile, violent acts against police officers are on the rise. In fact, from January through June of this year, more than 160 officers were shot nationwide.
Yeah, those are extremely troubling numbers. Joining us now to talk about this is Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio, TJ Asin. TJ, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is a very difficult time as you're kind of parsing through all of what has happened here. Those numbers, that is a very disturbing trend. In your view, what's behind it?
It starts at the top with elected officials. The violent rhetoric that comes out of the mouths of certain elected officials around the country almost perpetuates and sometimes even gives permission to certain people that think that they can attack and commit violent acts against law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. You know, I would imagine social media plays a role in it too, in amplifying these voices that you're talking about, and also, you know, amplifying what you would probably call the bad apples, would you not say? I mean, what would you say more about, you know, this trend and also what officers are facing?
So with regards to social media, there's always the need to be first anymore instead of being accurate. And when it comes to situations that deal with law enforcement, investigations take time. Nothing is done on an instant. It's not like it's a ship that turns on a dime. So you've got to let the process play out. And you know, we've seen that a lot recently with let's get as much information as we can out, even if it's not accurate, we're still going to get it out. And we have to, you know, we have to pull that back a little bit. Social media, the citizens, law enforcement, our agencies, our members, my members, we all need to slow down and get the truth out rather than just thoughts, feelings, and speculation about what's taken place in a lot of these cases.
TJ, once upon a time, the culture in America was officer shootings were very, very few and far between because it seemed like they just weren't tolerated in society, and they were also punished to the extreme. We've swung, the pendulum has swung. How do we reverse the current trend where it seems like in some cases it can be almost open season on police officers? How do we reverse that? So
it will start with our legislators. And an example with that is, and there's some national legislation that the FOP is advocating for. It's called the Federal Protect and Serve Act. And it would make it a federal offense to assault and attack and hurt and even kill law enforcement officers when they're performing their official duties. And the reason that the FOP is behind that law is because all throughout this country, there are local jurisdictions that unfortunately will not prosecute to the fullest extent those that harm and attack my members. And we need the federal government to step in, so that would allow for U.S. attorneys in those jurisdictions where the local district attorneys, the local prosecuting attorneys, where they are not going to push forward with the heaviest charges, it would allow the U.S. attorneys to come in and make federal cases out of these individuals that believe it's okay to do this. It starts with sending a message that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated. It will not be tolerated against our members. We also need to start swaying public opinion back to, well, I'll just say this. I don't know one law enforcement officer that goes to work every single day hoping that they get involved in a shooting. It just doesn't happen, right? But unfortunately, the pendulum needs to start swinging back in the favor of us, in the public eye, in the media eye, with certain elected officials throughout this country, here in Ohio.
TJ Asin from the Fraternal Order of Police, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts.
No, thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. We'll continue, of course, to have complete coverage of the Lorain Police shooting, both online and on air. We'll also have coverage streaming on our app. It's WKYC.